Okay, good morning, good morning, good morning. This is where we wait for a few seconds, Don, as we see people load in one after the other. We kind of pressed that magic button this morning. And okay, so all right. Sue's here, Sandy's here. Good morning, Robin. Good morning, Pauline. Hey, Pam. Logan, New Zealand is in the house. Our business builder of the year for 2024 is in the house. Good morning, Karen.
Wow.
Kelly is here. I'm assuming Kelly Abrahamson, that's you. Hop on one foot if it is. Kim's here. Jody, welcome. Chris Pitcher. Barbara's here. Avalon's here. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I was just explaining to Don that he's not going to see everybody this morning and he was somewhat disappointed. So let's make sure we're lighting up the chat as we're coming in this morning so he can feel the love. He's sitting in heat. It's cold here this morning in Sydney. Sun is out, but it is cold. But he's on the east coast of the US of A these days. So it's probably a lot warmer than it is here right now. So good morning, good morning, good morning. Okay. Okay, yeah, it is Cal. Everyone's here. Sandy's here. Good morning, Patricia. Just saw you sneak in. Ooh, we have somebody from the UK, Mr. Buckner. Come on down. Lovely to see your name come up on our list. He's going, oh, she picked on me. You get used to that. Don knows. We've traveled together, Don knows. So we'll give it a second and we will then get going because I am very mindful of everybody's time. Love of Chris. Chris is wearing red to offset the cold. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Oh, yes, Sue, I'm glad you're looking forward to it. Somebody's told you what to expect and you won't be disappointed. I do have fun at Don's expense, but we do love him. But you got to have some fun, right, Don?
Yes.
Yes. Peter's from New Zealand. Awesome. Okay, we are going to get going. And so I'm not going to hide the chat necessarily, but we'll just put this out of the way. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to our Lead, Laugh, Love podcast, inspiring leaders to lead with love and laughter along the way. You know, sometimes the journey you take doesn't always feel easy, but if you're passionate about it, I think it always helps if you can put a smile on your face and have some fun while you're learning and while you're growing. This morning's guest speaker is a bit of an icon, I think, and that's to put it mildly. Don Partridge is a platinum presidential director in Mannatech, and he's a recipient of the Ray Robbins Giving Spirit Award and a true friend to Australasia. Don has been here. We did a bit of a mini roadshow together, and then he attended one of our conventions. It was below in Adelaide. I think we worked out that was around 2012 or 2013, Don. Um, Don is legendary for his in-depth product knowledge as well as an in-depth knowledge of, I suppose, the health and wellness side of everything that we do. But I think alongside of that, Don's also known for a little bit of tough love, very strong leadership skills, very strong personal empowerment and development skills, and through a lot of study over a lot of years. And he's also got a bit of a wicked sense of humor. Um, Blink and you'll miss it, but it's definitely there. Don, good morning. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. How are you doing? A bit warmer where you are, right?
Yeah, well, I'm just about getting ready for bed here while you guys are just getting up.
Hmm. So, Don, I was realizing when we were talking about this, one of the first question we always start is why Mannatech? And I don't believe I've ever heard your story. So
Wow.
let's talk about why Mannatech for you, because it's what, 31 years for you now?
At least, yes. Since 94 when it first got going. I usually hear about, because I'm in natural health medicine, natural health industry, I usually hear about all the new things that pop up.
Mhm.
And some young man came along and said, you need to try this. You need to check this out. And that was the Bottle Plus. And I said, well, most everything I check out is pretty much worthless. Not only do I read the labels, but I have electronic equipment that I use to test products with. And most of them are full of bad filler ingredients and different poor sources of product or weak herbs or whatever they are. They're just junk. And so I figured this to be the same. And I threw it on the machine and it actually looked good, checked out good, didn't have any negative effects. So I started giving it to a few people and the results were amazing. They were slow, but amazing when they happened. It took a month, 2 months, 3 months to see things happening in people's lives. But everybody I gave it to just had phenomenal results with it. So that's pretty much what got me started was the product. And then I always liked network marketing. I thought it was a very, very powerful and uh, easy way for anyone to get into some business, generate some extra income, have some financial freedom, make friends, personal development, grow, because it forces you to grow when you're involved with other imperfect human beings, trying to get along with them, trying to help them. And so it helps you yourself grow. So I love the industry. And so took a look at their program and decided this is something that I think other people could do. Doesn't matter what I can do. If you can't help other people do it, it's not going to work. So it was really a whole package. And then, of course, shortly after that, uh, Sam got on a call with us and some of the other people and said, Dr. Nugent, and said, I think Nugent was around at that time, but shortly thereafter, if not, and he said, we're going to get Manipul, this Costa Rican aloe. And I said, no, no way, you're not going to get that stuff because I had actually been buying that from Carrington Labs
Mhm.
over the years that they had been trying to get this approved as a drug, and the FDA wouldn't let them make a drug out of it because they couldn't kill any rats in their studies. So they said this doesn't have side effects, so it's not a drug. And they were kind of befuddled. And so then, as they told the story, they said because of that, they said we're going to put it out as a nutritional product. And then we knew Reg and we knew Bill and all these guys, and I knew those names too. And I'm going, this is for real. Ray Robbins is on there, and he had been talking with these guys. He knew them because he knows everybody, I think. And I said, oh man, you guys do not know what you have your hands on. We're all going to be millionaires. And it just wouldn't because that Manipul is probably the most incredible product on the planet that I've still ever come across to this day. There's some other really great things, and it's not everything. You still need a lot of other stuff. You need some vitamin A to live, but it is a phenomenal product. And then, of course, when they put the Manipul together with all the other glycans, it just became an amazing thing. So for me, it's helping other people get healthy was the start, and also helping other people get wealthy. Because the problem in this industry is a lot of people have been conditioned to a socialized medicine or through insurance, and they don't have to pay for their health. So if you don't help them make a way to easily afford it, they're just not going to avail themselves of it. So this was a perfect package. It came with a way if you just be willing to help other people and share with some other people and find the ones who are interested, you could pay for your own product and have it and maybe make some extra money too. So I just fell in love from the start. The products worked, and it's been the greatest experience of my life.
I love that. And if you're watching this morning, sometimes we look up at leaders that we see that are above us and we think, oh, I could never do that. It started with the product. And for so many of you watching this morning, I know your stories. I know it started with the product. And then you started to look at it from another way. So that happens for so many people. Yes, some do actually just come in for the business, but the majority of Mannatechers really came for the product. And I think it's where it takes you after that. Don, when you look at those days, because in those days, I'm sure the comp plan looked nothing like it does now. In fact, I know it didn't. But from that point to platinum director, presidential director, that doesn't happen overnight. What are some of the things that you did on the regular? What were your good habits that you would say to somebody are still effective tools for people to use today, even 31 years later?
Well, number one was I wanted to impact as many people as I could with the product because
Hmm.
I believed in it. I knew what it was. I knew what it could do for them.
Hmm.
And I I dabbled with other network marketing companies and tried to get business going and tried to help people with it. And, I was probably a 5 or 8 time failure. I'd had a little bit of success with one company. And so it wasn't because that I was already some great guru in network marketing. And it was just that the products worked. I was willing to try and put it out to people. And I went out and talked to everybody and handed out brochures. Back in those days, we didn't have all the internet and all that stuff. We're handwriting our downline printouts, and everything was mailing letters to people. I can't remember how many stamps I licked and mailed with brochures and information in it, letting them know about these products. Now, the brochures we had then might have been a little more compelling, uh, but for a lot of people, they're so compelling they don't believe it. So it really doesn't matter what you can say about the product. It is somewhat trust marketing. And so you want to try and build a relationship with people. Now, those of you who know me know that I'm probably not the most friendly guy that you just want to come up and talk to and meet. I'm a little big, a little scary, a little bit blunt and direct. And I don't, I was afraid when I moved down here to South Carolina, I wasn't going to be enough of a Southern gentleman. I thought this is going to be terrible. It'll be horrible. But most everybody here now is from other places. So I'm fitting in just fine. Didn't have to be a Southern gentleman. So I didn't really have the people skills in that sense on, going to people and talking to them and attracting them. So what I did, and actually I took a course, it cost me $5,000. I was up till 2 in the morning in a course doing crazy, weird stuff, of course. And it really taught me the power of this lesson. And that was, I could go find a very few people who would listen to me, learn from me, and get along with me. And then what I did was I encouraged them to refer their people to me. And when they referred people to me, the people had a belief system in me. They listened to me. They could benefit from the experience and knowledge I had and share with them. And it worked perfect. And so my claim to fame is four people and the four people they brought who brought people, and everyone just doing referrals until we got big enough to be able to do meetings. And then we would go out and do the meetings where people would come. So it wasn't so much me going out and meeting a lot of people, initiating it. It was me working the referrals. So some of you are naturally friendly. People like you. They'll follow you. They'll do anything you ask them to do, no matter how crazy or stupid. They just want to be with you. Now, that's the people you want to find. Those people who are people, find them and get them involved. If you've got to pay their way in and buy them or pay them like you hire them an employee, whatever. Some people need to hire someone to organize their office and do the bookkeeping. Some people need help some other way. But get a team. Find out what you're weak at, find out what you're strong at, find out what the other people are strong at, and then encourage and build them up and edify them to see their strengths, and then utilize them and get them out there doing it. So for me, that's the main way that it worked, was referrals.
I love it. And you're not as big and scary as you let on, in all fairness. You're a little bit of a pussycat. And for those of us that know you, we see through that. But I love that because there's a couple of things you said there that really, that I took note of. Trust marketing. People don't care what you're selling until they know who you are, and building that relationship. And whether you
Yeah.
do that online or offline, it's still a very, very vital part. And I
Yeah,
want
and
to,
I had to take a lot of courses
yeah.
to learn to improve myself and to broaden my acceptance with other people. I had to learn
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
listen to other people better and not just tell. And I had to learn the different personalities was helpful to learn how to communicate with people who are, maybe different than me or not naturally inclined. So it was a lot of personal growth and personal skills. And that's why I said this is the greatest personal development course there is, and you get paid to take it instead of paying to take one. But I had to put in some hours of study and learning, and from other people that had these skills I didn't have.
Yeah. And I think, the biggest thing you learn, from my perspective, is to look in the mirror. Because sometimes we look around at everything else and why is something not working? And sometimes you just need to have a look in the mirror to understand why it's not. And that's not always an easy thing to do. We don't like to put the spotlight on ourselves in that way, but I think, you know, you are the greatest asset in your business, but at the same time, you are the reason whether it goes up or down and how you react to things. Don, is there anything you wish you knew back then that you'd learned along the way? If somebody said to you starting off, what was the one thing you wish you knew before you started? Is there something that jumps out? Or do you look in the mirror and just see perfection all the time and go, no, I'm
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
good.
You see more perfection, of course, than I do.
Mm,
Well, for for me, like I mentioned, it was the people skills.
Yeah.
I knew I needed to improve those.
Hmm.
I'm great standing up in front of a room giving a lecture,
Hmm.
but learning how to involve people even there, get them involved, asking questions, get them participating so they retain and learn. So learning how to do a meeting was something that I wanted skills to improve. And I think also the number one thing of all of it was to believe. Now, a lot of people, for one reason or another, either were a perfectionist or were very, very sensitive and fearful and full of anxiety. We don't want to make a mistake. And that fear of making a mistake, fear of offending somebody, fear of getting something wrong paralyzes you to a great extent. And what you have to realize is not everyone is going to like you or respond to you. You're not going to be able to help everyone. And so if somebody says no to me, if I cry, it's not because I feel hurt. It's because I feel sad for them that they didn't get to benefit from the things that we could have helped them with and the team we could have plugged them into and gotten them involved and how we could have changed their life. I feel sorry for them. I'm sad for them. And that's why I want to try and help everybody. But it is believe in spite of your weaknesses. Everyone can do this regardless of what strength and weaknesses you are. There's always a place to play in the team. You just got to figure that out. Find the people that you can work with. Sometimes it has to be cross line. Sometimes you just don't work well with your upline. You get together your cross line and work with them and help them, make their upline money and they help you make your upline money as well as yourself and your downline. The key isn't always be taking care of your downline. So it's to believe that you can do it, to believe. And what happens is it's like the old fairy tale. The dragon and the bad guys are behind you, and you run up to a cliff, and then there's nowhere to go. But if you step out into that abyss, into that emptiness, the bridge shows up. But the bridge does not show up until you take the step out there. And that's believing. You can say, well, I think it's true. I believe that it's true that there's going to be a bridge there, but you don't really believe it until you step out into that emptiness, that unknown, that something new. And so you want to be a little bit courageous. You want to be a little bit risky. And the beautiful thing is here, you don't fall into some, death pit. All you do is you get a no, and you go on to the next person. No to me means next, or I'm not ready yet. One of the two. It doesn't mean no. I have so many people that said no to me several times, and eventually, bang, all of a sudden they want it and they're excited to do it. So it's believe that you can do it. Believe that there will be people out there that are going to work with you. It's just believe it and stay in that positive mode. When you think negative, you attract more negative to you. I don't know why. It's just the way the brain works, thinking positive and getting rid of your stinking thinking. So I learned those along the way, the hard way, and also by taking courses. But if I could have started out, if I would have just believed more and sooner, I think I would have helped a lot more people.
I love that. I love that. And I think if you're listening this morning and you're sitting there and you're saying, okay, I want to take that next step, or I'm feeling a bit stuck. Yeah, I think belief, what is it? When intentions are clear,
Yep.
mechanisms appear. And I think
Yep.
that starts with belief. When Al always said, when you work your passion, you never work a day in your life. And I think that's the difference. And it's interesting you said earlier, there's too many thoughts going on in my head right now, Don. Sorry. You said earlier about you dabbled in another company and you weren't that successful. But I think that's belief on the other side, because maybe you didn't believe in them as much as you did when you
Myself.
found Plus. Yeah. And
Yeah.
there's so much here. One of the biggest unsung heroes in my mind of network marketing is personal growth. And as somebody who I kind of say I grew up into this industry with Mannatech, from a corporate side of things, I always thought, we had a choice. There would be events, you'd be invited to attend things. We made the choice whether to attend or not. So we got to learn alongside of people, and not just with the Dr. Nugents, but with the Dons and the Mary Joes and all the other personal development stuff that came along. Um, it is the unsung hero, the growth that you go through. How important is it? Because you can sign up a gazillion customers and you can hit a rank just by doing that and going 75 miles wide, right? And you can be really good at customer care. You'll be exhausted if you get to platinum just by doing that, but you'll be exhausted. What that personal growth is so important because you want to develop yourself as a leader and develop your team. And when you say develop, empower, lift them up, show them to do what you do. And it's the unsung hero because you stand on stage and you're a Ray Robbins Giving Spirit, or you're $1 million club member, or you're the business builder of the year. This to me is the other reward that we don't really, you can't quantify. It's hard to quantify. So you can call it self-care. You maybe you're a Friday night person at the end of a hard week, you get into a bath and put on the bubbles, but maybe you're listening to a podcast to fuel your brain. When you look at personal growth and when you look at the need for personal development, and thinking about somebody watching here this morning that says, ah, yeah, I'm fine. I'm a pull myself up by my bootstraps kind of person. I don't need anything. What do you say to that? How do you help somebody understand that it is vital for what we do? Sorry,
Well,
long way to get to the question.
number one is I find it's best to go in with an expectation the person is going to say yes and do well. So talk about I have to believe in myself, I believe in them. And I have to believe for them because they don't have a belief yet. It takes a while to build up a belief in something, a belief in the product. You have to have some experiences maybe, or see other people have experiences, hear testimony. It takes a while to have a belief in yourself that you can actually go do this and accomplish something. A lot of people have been told you're never going to amount to anything. You're no good. You can't do this. And they think there might be some truth to that, or partly true. The reality is no, it's not. And we've got to get rid of the negative thinking. We've got to just think the positive and think and believe for the other people. So believe for them until their belief is there for themselves. And ask your brain. This was a really weird thing that came to me. I realized that I was such a negative, critical person, always trying to make sure I didn't fail, didn't let somebody down, probably a little bit of ego too, didn't want to get criticized myself, but mainly I didn't want to fail for other people. So I had to make sure I did it right. And which is doing it wrong because it's got an edge on it. And you're trying to push them to do something they're not ready to do yet because you want their success more than they do. So I had to shift my thinking to finding a win-win, not a win for me, not even just a win for them, but a win-win. How can we all win? How can everybody win? So I started looking for a win-win. And that's so important. If that doesn't make sense to you, we don't have time to explain today. Talk to somebody who understands what that means. And in doing that, I had to ask my brain. I realized my brain and everybody's brain is just as good at picking winning, successful answers, solutions, and ideas as it is picking losers. But it's a computer. If you ask it, keep me from making a mistake, keep me from pain, keep me from rejection, and that's your goal, that's your idol, that's what you want in life, you will get it, and your brain will bring up the subset of here's all the possible failures, and you can pick which ones you want to avoid. And that is failure. If you ask your brain instead, forget it. I can handle someone saying no. I can handle mistakes. I can handle losses. I can handle delays. I can handle anything this world throws at me. Because remember, this is a test. You're in here to learn and grow. This is not supposed to be some easy dance through the park you can do casually. This is a struggle. And we're learning and fighting all the way. We're fighting against ourselves and our damage and our fears. And so I'm finding a way that will work for these people. I'm being creative in that, and I'm asking my brain now, find me all the winning, successful answers and ideas. Now my brain comes up with all these winning, successful ideas. Now I can pick a high risk one or I can pick a low risk one, but at least now I'm going to be picking way more winners than I am losers. And it's that simple. It's so simple. I probably resisted it for a long time. Didn't believe that could be it at all. Had to be something else. Spent hours and time trying to find something else that it was because I didn't want it to be what it was. And once I finally resigned myself and submitted the fact that's what it is, it's you got to change, you got to change the thinking, then people started responding to me differently because I wasn't in it to pressure them, to pull them or push them or whatever else. I was there as a servant saying, I've brought you a gift. Would you like it? And they're either not ready for it or they are. And that's as simple as, so I began to live as a servant to serve other people and try and find ways that they would be willing to be served. I tried to change the package, the color, the taste, whatever I could do to serve them. And if I knew if I helped enough other people get what they want, I get what I want, I'd be taken care of. Because you're such a good servant to others, you're going to be taken care of. That's
It
the value.
reminds,
That's our value. Our value is how many people have you helped?
and it's kind of in a nutshell, it's not about you, it's about them. And
Yep.
I'm somebody that, as much as I'll read, I feel I learn more from being around people and connecting and chatting and talking to people. And you've reminded me of a lesson you taught me.
Oh,
And yeah, I know you're going, who knew, right? Um, we were touring before conference, and I would stand up and I would introduce Don, and then Don would stand there for 5 minutes and tell everybody how great I was. And I would, in my true Irish form, be really uncomfortable with that and cringe in the corner. So I said to Don, can you please not do that? It's not about me. And he said, you're damn right, it's not about you. And I remember going, okay, talk about way to whack me in the face. And he said, no, but he said, every time I edify you and the team at corporate, it is reaffirming to people that they're in the right place and they've got people to take care of them and that they are supported and they've got more. And I was very humbled in that moment when I realized you're right. It wasn't about me, but I was reacting because I thought it was about me and I was very uncomfortable with it. And somebody else turned around and said to me once, when you get a compliment, the only response is thank you. So get comfortable with that too. And it sticks with me because um, I've never forgotten that. And I think the reality of what we do is we are here to help and support and lift up and empower other people. And I think that's such an important thing. Somebody has asked a question about following up, and I think following up is a very broad term. How important is following up is the question. Um, it could be with product, it could be with business, it could be with personal development, but following up is really a sign of that you care, to my mind. Do you agree, Don, or what are your
yeah,
thoughts?
absolutely. And like you said about the personal development, we some people probably don't need much of it. Some of us probably never could get enough of it. So you have to look at yourself again, looking for your weaknesses, and then try and get the personal development that you need, which may be different than what your sponsor thinks you need or somebody else needs. So that's where you want to focus in on it is looking at your weaknesses. And I think you can't get enough feedback. You don't wait for people to give you feedback. I beg people, please tell me what you don't like. Please tell me how I can improve. Please tell me to give me that feedback. I would pay people to give me feedback, to help me improve. And so don't shy away from from that at all. And so get the personal development that you need to help you grow in those areas. I'm sorry, it slipped my mind. What was the
It
main
was, it
point you
was,
were trying?
it was asking about following up, and I think,
Oh,
we're
so
saying,
so
yeah.
following up is, you can put the coffee in the pot and cook it, but if you don't go out and get the coffee and go pour it in people's cups, it doesn't do any good, right? So follow up is very broad and it's different
Mm,
again for every individual. Different people need different follow up. Some people need to be nurtured and loved. That's the follow up. You keep contacting them, following up, and giving them some love and nurturing and belonging. They want to be involved in Mannatech because they don't have a social life and they need that and they need some emotional support because they've been neglected or abused or whatever their whole life, and bringing them into a bunch of positive people who don't really care about your weaknesses. We're just looking for your strengths and to pump you up because it makes us feel good if we can help you get stronger and see you have success and we had some little part of it. That's what we're about. What a community to be in, right? Love it. So some people need that. Some people need you to affirm that they know what they're doing, that they're confident because they think, well, I don't know how to say it or I'm not sure I'm saying it right. Well, tell me. Okay, that's fine. That's going to work. Find out 3 or 4 different ways. You may have to do some mentoring with some people. They may need hand holding. You may have to go with them to go on appointments and meet people, hold their hand and be with them. So it's different with everybody. And some people, it's just dripping on them. You call and check, how are you doing? How are you doing? You're not really trying to push or sell or anything. You just drip on them over time. And you may, now we can do a lot of that online. We can say, hey, here's what I'm doing. Here's what success I'm having. Here's a success one of my teammates is having, whether it's with the product and health or whether it's with income or recruiting, all of that. So follow up embodies all of that. It's whatever that other person needs. And there's a point at which you just stop. And stop is really more of a pause. It's like I'm going to go find the people who are ready right now. Another thing I spent $5,000 in a course to realize was not everybody is, you're not going to get everybody. So be willing to let them be a no. Let them, that's one less person for you to have to take care of and serve. Great. Next. Now, where's the people that, want me? And you just let them go and you go help other people. And sometimes they sit back and they watch you helping all these other people and they go, wait, I'm missing out. Hey, what about me? You forgot about me. And then they begin to come back. And then you can receive them or open up or check back with them again. So sometimes following up is not doing anything, but keeping them in your mind intentionally.
I love that. And I think something you just said, I think some people's fear of follow-up is because I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to look like I'm selling people. But if you come back to that idea of trust marketing and you've started to build that trust, they're less likely to see you like that, right? And it's again,
Right.
it's the voices in our own head that are telling us, oh, they think I'm pushy. We
As long as
decide we know what they're
long as you're
thinking.
not asking them every time, do you want to buy some? Do you want to buy some? So just
Yeah.
don't do that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody said planting those seeds, and Robbins just said, in a world that's so negative and critical, we can shine a bright light on. Absolutely, I think that's incredible. And
Yeah.
Don, who inspires you?
Well, I would have a really hard time nailing that down to one person. I think you kind of challenged me to go back and relive my past a bit here and think about a lot of the people in my life that have inspired me. I mean, there's the obvious people. I took a course by Richard Brooks long, long, long ago and on vision. And this was probably first year or so of Mannatech, and that was a huge breakthrough for me to have a vision beyond my belief. So vision kind of even went beyond belief. It wasn't a dream. It was a vision of something I wanted to accomplish. In other words, it was kind of like purpose. I began to find my purpose in life. So that was very powerful. And Jim Rohn and Robert Kiyosaki and all these different people all have a part. Bob Berg, I love The Go Giver because for me that resonated, not necessarily with everybody, but that was a good book in my life. And Mannatech brought him in. Mannatech is so great. They brought all these people in for events for us to sit under their feet and learn from them. And so I've been inspired by a lot of them. And so it's very hard to pick any one person, but I would say all these different people, seeing all these different successful people have inspired me. And for me personally, most of all, it's, God, my Lord Jesus Christ. He's inspired me to say, do something with your life. Don't waste, the talents and gifts I've given you. Go out there and use them. And so that's my ultimate inspiration and motivation.
I'm going to throw you a question we didn't discuss because I just thought of something, to be fair. If you didn't do this, if you weren't into the science and the have the interest in the product and what you've done with the personal development and the business, what would you have been? What do you think would you like? To be fair, you could argue a good case. You would have been a great lawyer. But what did 8-year-old Don want to be when he grew up? Like what where else would you
Well,
say?
it was always a doctor from the time I was young. My mother was a nurse. I was raised in it, had all my health problems and everything. Uh,
Mhm.
for a while, I didn't like when I was in college and I learned what medicine was, and I didn't like it, and I got sick of all of it and what had been done to me. I wanted to be a football coach because I was on scholarship for football, and so that might have been a direction I go. Although now I'm not, so big into going out and beating your head against another person. So that's not it. I really can't imagine doing anything else
Mm.
but something around health and working with health and people helping their health. I guess maybe motivational speaking, but what is there to speak about motivationally? I'm not, I'm more practical and grounded and have to tie it into something. I couldn't just go out and talk about be positive without relating it to some specific thing. So I don't know. This is my niche. This is what I was meant to be. This is me. I just love it.
I love that. And I think when you think about motivational speakers, there's a difference between a motivational speaker and an inspirational speaker. And I think you would have come into the latter category. Not that you wouldn't have motivated people, but I think you would have more inspired people. You might not agree with me, but there you go. We can't always agree. So you were going to be a doctor and a football coach. Wow. It's amazing where the path takes you, though. Do you know what I mean? You never know what's out in front of you, and I think it's adapting to what comes your way. Something came into your life and you saw it and you built on it. And so if you're sitting here this morning, you've given up your time for a reason. You know, that's my biggest thing. If you've turned up to something, whether it be a call or a training or a thing with Dr. Nugent, you opted to give up the time, make it mean something. And for me, looking at you and hearing you, something came across your path, you were curious, you kept looking, and then you decided, well, I've come this way, I'm going to do something with it. And I think that's really important. Um, Somebody has asked, and at this point, people know this is usually one of my last questions, and you did mention to me in our conversations this would be another hard question. Recommend one book.
Yeah, that's kind of like picking one mentor, it's
Yeah,
tough to do.
yeah.
Again, like I said, a very impactful area in my life was Mach 2 by Richard Brooks on vision, getting that vision down. And, so many people out there with so much good, like I mentioned a few
Mhm,
others earlier, Bob Berg. And so I think the best book is the one that finds your weak link and gives you some answers and ideas that you've had a blind spot to. And so
mhm,
that's going to be different for everybody. So I would just see, read lots of books and ask your friends and your mentors and people who are having success what they're excited about. Because then you're going to be more excited to read it. It won't be boring. Reading's hard for a lot of people, and for me too. I don't like reading. I do it as a schooling because I know I need it. I need to keep myself in there and with new ideas and new concepts coming up. So it's pretty hard for me to pick any one. Brian Clemmer was a huge influence in my life,
mhm.
and Al Bala. Wow, what a phenomenal example and inspiration uh, can you have, and Dr. Nugent. So these are people that made a huge impact on my life, were great examples. And so I like Clemmer's books also. Those are very, very good. Rich Dad, Poor Dad was phenomenal for me because I had a poor dad mentality. And a lot of people have a bad attitude toward wealth. If you think maybe making money is bad or you'll become a bad person if you make too much money, then you need to change your thinking around that. And what I always do in my seminars is I say, well, you don't have to be afraid of getting rich. If you start making too much money, you can just give it to other people. You can give it to our M5M program and help
Yes,
feed kids. You can give it to other people who are trying to build up their businesses that you can help them. So never a problem. You
yes.
don't have to have, so don't be afraid of getting wealthy. You don't have to be wealthy. You can just give as much away as you think is too much for you to have. Just give it away. There's plenty of good places to give it, and that'll be phenomenal for you.
It's interesting you say, people say, oh, it's bad to be wealthy, but they're still the same people that will go out and buy a lottery ticket, right? And and I think the one thing that I love about our industry is when people start talking about earning more money. In my experience, the stories that you hear that go alongside it is what they've been able to do for other people. And maybe it's, I couldn't afford to do this for my kids, or, I had a parent in
Yeah.
care, or I wanted to give back through foundations like M5M or similar in different ways. And there is so much giving goes on in our industry as a whole, I think. I think people miss that. All right, I'm going to give you one last question just because I can. Why network marketing? I know you said you love the idea of it, but we get a bad rap sometimes, and people go, "Oh, you're this, you're that, you're the cult, you're a pyramid, you're whatever." If you were to give somebody said to you, Don, "Oh, it's a whole load of hokum, you're deluded," what would you say to that?
Is any business a rip off, a bad? I mean, you could be a car dealership and sell bad cars and rip people off. You can be a bad home builder and build poor quality homes. So anyone can be bad in business or they can be good.
Mm.
And so are there people who have been in network marketing that maybe have been greedy and selfish and ripped people off and been more interested in themselves? Yes, it might be. You might even have someone in your upline like that. I hope you don't, but you might. And it's like, so what? the fact that other people are doing poorly doesn't mean you can't go do it well. So to me, I don't believe that. It's just an excuse from fear of the unknown. They don't know what it's like. And so that's a good excuse for them because they've heard other people use it. So I never believe that when they say it. I try and find what they're really afraid of, and I let them know that all we're doing is is maybe people have abused it and been pushy salesmen in any field, but what
Hmm.
we're doing is we're going out and offering an opportunity of a lifetime to people to help them with their health or their finances and to bring them in to a phenomenal group of people where they can be loved and accepted as they are and grow and have a life of their dreams. So it's all of those things and getting a chance to get into experiential workshops because you know you need it, where you learn to act in spite of your fear. But I'm afraid. Good, that's okay. You can feel it, no problem. Go ahead and act in spite of it. How powerful is that to learn that I don't have to be stuck behind my fear and limited? What a freeing, powerful experience that is. I never would have learned that if I hadn't gotten into network marketing.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that because it is quite often, especially if somebody's new, it's the question that stumps people, and then again they're going along great and the fear comes in. So I think you've hit the nail on the head, you know.
Yeah, there's no way you can get ripped off. I mean,
No.
you either make money or you don't. If someone promised you you're going to make a whole lot of money and you don't do the work and you don't make the money, where's the rip off? Where's the shock? If you do this, if you do what we show you to do, if you follow the plan, you will get the pay. There's no question about it. Will some people quit? Yes. Will your income go down at times? Yes. It doesn't just go straight up. It goes up like this, up and down, and that's how it goes up. So I think a key factor is helping people to understand the misunderstandings that have been out there. Well, I was in it before and I didn't make any money. Great. How many people did you enroll? How many people did you serve? Well, that's why, because it's not a miracle. You don't just sign up and money falls in your door. You have to do the work. And if you do the work, you can't not get paid.
I love it. I love it. I
That's
love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, I think we found what would you do with a brand new person who you've just found and they're a promoter who's excited. So you found somebody, they're the promoter type of personality, they're excited. What would you do with them?
I'd tell them number one, start eating as many of the products as you can, whatever
Mhm.
makes sense to you.
Mhm.
And go talk to people and say, I found this really great thing. Let me hook you up with this person and get them on the phone with you or your upline or whoever it is in your team that is good at talking to people. Or get together with coffee. Some people, it's like sitting down together. It's not the words, it's that intimacy. Get them together with another person and let that other person who's experienced talk to them. And then you listen and learn how the other person talks to them, and you develop your mindset of what you're going to say to people so you can duplicate that process and have them bring people to you. So I would say it's go get some, if you're a good promoter, go get some people and get them connected up with someone else. And if you've got meetings, bring them to meetings. You got Zoom meetings, bring them to the Zoom meetings. Whatever, just get them engaged and get them involved and keep them excited. Help them to see all the positives, and then start teaching them all the things we talked about. They can't learn it all at once, so you just got to start dripping on them. Belief, you've got to believe. Do you have any hangups? Do you have any fears? What would be your reason not to do this? What would make you want to quit? What's your dream? You have to have your dreams. What is it you want to accomplish in life? I want a house. I want to have kids. I want to whatever it is. I want to retire without being broke. You have to help them focus on a goal and a dream that they have that's bigger than what they're able to accomplish where they're at now.
Love that. And if you were at our momentum trainings earlier in this year, you would have heard a very similar message from Bronze Presidential Karen Dennis. It's about that third party validation, bringing in another voice. What I'm trying to say here is success leaves clues. So you've heard it from two top leaders now. You know the answer to this question. I love that. I absolutely love that. And Don, we're
Well,
just,
I was just going to say, you've got great leaders
we
down
do.
there in Australia. We've all had people come and go. That's just the way life is. Things change for us. But you have great leaders down there. You've got great people to follow. You've got great people that can help support you and just follow the leader. Do what the leader is like. Just come on, get in line with us and follow the leader, like the little dance
Mm.
around when we're going around holding on to the back of everybody. You don't have to know where you're going. You don't have to know what to do. You just follow the leaders and do what they do. And you may find your own little distinctive ways of doing it and just follow the leader. And of course, and I'm going to say it again, Sinead, you know, she asked me to be on the call, and I said, well, I can't say no to you. I mean, because what I loved about her from day one was that she cared. Now, there's so few people in the corporate world that care about their teams out here like we do. We care about our people. We care if they have success. We cry over them. We have sadness and sorrow. And she is that way. She is just a person who is selflessly pours herself into other people. And you know, what a great leader and an example for you to have there at corporate, a person who I feel like is one of us. And so that's why I've always admired her and always thought you guys were so thankful to have her as one of your leaders down there. So, yeah, can't say enough.
And in the in to show growth, thank you. Um,
And though it's true from my very heart, and you know it,
yes, I
it's
do.
not
I
just
do.
it's not just about you.
I know.
It's it
I
is
do. I do. And if
it's for all
anybody
of us.
had the pleasure of being in Don's company and you know you came to Australia, you were still sitting in the hotel lobby with people at 3 and 4 in the morning. You gave so much of yourself. You gave so much of your time. Um, you talk to everybody and anybody. I know you say, you know, you're not everybody's cup of tea, but I can tell you right now, you've always been Australasia's cup of tea and you will continue to be so. And this morning has been such the most amazing call. The chat hasn't stopped going. Um, we're in an incredible company at an incredible time in this world with products that we know make a difference, but more than that, with a community of people who just want to make the world a better place. And I feel you know, if you're here this morning, it is right place, right time, right people. The only thing limiting you is yourself. So go and have that look in the mirror this morning when we're done. I said to somebody once, you know, when they're having a bad day, get up in the morning, look in the mirror and say, I am spectacular. I can do this. No nice,
Yeah.
no lovely, let's go for the high. I am spectacular. I am incredible. I can do this. And Don, you filled our cups this morning. And I know there's a lot of love for you in the chat and somebody saying just what they needed to hear. You know, we speak to so many people and sometimes we don't know the difference we make. And I think you are somebody who continues to make a difference each and every single day. And Mannatech is very, very lucky to have you. So, from all of us to you, thank you so much for being with us this morning. It has been absolutely incredible. And we may need to invite him back, I reckon. If you think we should invite him back, just give me a yes in the chat. Let's see how quickly that goes. Oh,
And
and
I love you guys
and
down
it's off.
there. I love so many of you guys. I wish we were closer and I could get over there more. Just a great bunch of people that have always been in my heart, especially since the couple trips that I've made down there. So I wish you all great success, and I hope that you can continue believing that you can do it and believe other people can do it, and let's just go do it.
And not more to be said after that. So I'm going to stop the recording because I want to keep this